FFG and Nomad at night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, No Maniacs. Welcome to the show. This is Nomad at Night. I'm your host, Nomad, and I got my trusties with me here today. Kedz the Canuck is over there, live from Canada. Got our newly administered, member of the Nomad Network. FFG is here with us, man, rocking and rolling with us, man. And Nick is in the background on the ones and twos, making everything work for us. And as No Maniacs filed into the show, I know it's off kilter for us to do a Nomad at Night on a Tuesday night. It's like, man, what y'all gonna do shows, man? And I get it, y'all. It's very fluid in this podcasting world when you got people that have lives, man. People have lives and everybody can't commit to every show. And so we just have to do what we can when we can. And that's the best we can do. But we're gonna give it to you guys as much as we can and give you the best shows that we can give you when we can give them to you, man. It's gonna be a packed out week. Why? It's because we got tonight's show. We just got finished with Superflex. Keds's fantasy show went great. Gave some real solid ass advice. Great nuggets for your fantasy team and anybody that does parlays and that kind of thing that I don't really understand that world. But Kedz kept it 100, man. We kept it 100 and gave you guys some nuggets. So if you haven't checked out that show yet, go check out that show. I'm telling you, if you're a fantasy football player and you're not watching that show, you're missing. I'm just telling you, every week we have a tale to tell after we told you guys, man, go get these players and your fantasy situation will be much better. And every week we come on that show and stand correct. Not corrected, but correct. But that being said, man, let me get ready to pass it on to Canuck because you know why? We got to talk about this preview game between the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. And I feel like I'm on an island. I think I'm going to be on an island on this show because I have I saw the last week's game and I came away pretty inspired. I remember what happened last year in the Detroit games, and I was inspired from those too. It's a lot of good reasons why I feel like we're going to play a hell of a game this week. But we'll get into that. We'll be minus a key cog in that engine on defense, minus Andrew Billings. That's to be talked about too. But before we get all the way into it, let me pass it on to my guy from Canada, live and direct to you guys. What say you, kids? Give them some shout-outs.
What it do? What's popping? Super No Maniacs one and all. Thanks for joining us as per normal. Give a little bit of love to all those who are out there giving us love. Big shout out to Dennis Moody. Shout out to my guy FFG Style, who's in the building with us once again. Minister Charles Johnson, what's popping, family? What's happening? We've got Frank out there. What's popping, Frank? Shout out to Plank. Shout out to It's Crimson. You dig. You made it just in time for this show, too. Thanks for joining me for Superflex. Y'all can always join me for Superflex on Tuesdays at 7 Central. What is it? Sorry.
6 Central.
6 Central, 7 Eastern. Yeah, that's the time. Come join me. Mad gems, just as per what the Nomad was saying right there. You're going to more than likely do well in your fantasy football team. Watch a little Superflex. Hang out with me. It's fun. FFG, what do you got to say, brother? Oh, shout out Chris Foster who just jumped into.
Well, welcome everybody. Joining us at Nomad at Night. It's always a pleasure to talk Bears with everybody. I'm in the mode that we are going to finally prevail in these close games. And we're going to shock a lot of people this Thursday by being ready. I think they're more inspired to play this game than Detroit is. And the way we play them is probably the best in NFL, maybe than Tampa Bay. So I think we really have a game plan against that one particular team that does cause them problems, especially in the secondary, because we've been eating Jared Goff alive. So I think that is the key to the game. Keep him flustered, keep him off his game. Because he's thrown, 6-7 interceptions last year in the 2 games we played. So he is not invincible, and we're going to be up on them shorter routes because he's not a zone beater like that. And I think this week we're going to play way more man-to-man to show them why we're have been growing as a team on both sides of the ball.
Hey, you know something, man? Let me start this conversation off the right way with the basic premise of Thursday's game, and I can see Kedz already got an inkling of what Kedz thinks because we just did Superflex and he mentioned it, but I got to pass it to him anyway because we're on Nomad at night and people want to hear about it. Kedz, I don't think you're too optimistic. I'm gonna save my commentary until the end. You're not too optimistic, and I want to see why in particular this is different than last year for you.
It's not so much that I'm not optimistic. It's that we're in week 13. We've watched this team, and I'm sure Don Burr, who's not in the chat, or maybe a Carl Rittenberg. Shout out to you for being in the building. But I see a little Honolulu blue there, Carl. I kind of feel a little Honolulu blue. Anyways, we've seen these two teams through 13 games this season, and your record you are your record, right? You are. So we kind of know what these Chicago Bears are. We kind of have a feeling what these Detroit Lions are right now. What I feel is that the Detroit Lions are, and they have been for the past couple of weeks, a team that allows their opponent to put up some real numbers on them. And my problem with this game initially would have been, man, this Chicago Bears offense is so bad, they can't score on anybody. And then Enter Thomas Brown. Imagine me being a little bit excited about this situation, right? Just a little bit. I didn't think much about this situation at all. I really didn't. Reason being, I don't expect the Bears to do the right thing with all this. I expect them to fumble this and mismanage this. What I mean is, right now we've got a guy who's working with the young rookie quarterback, and things are going well, and they're going to destroy that in a couple of months, right? In future looking, they're going to kill that. But anyways, back to just the heart of the question. Thomas Brown is doing great things. He's helping this team put up 20 plus points in a football game. So I expect the Chicago Bears to do exactly that versus the Detroit Lions. They're allowing stuff like this. I don't see them stopping the Bears offense in any capacity, especially the way it's been working, and especially the way that Thomas Brown's been cooking things up. I like it. So Bears will put up somewhere in around 24, 27 points this week. I'll put that out there. I see Chris Foster saying 45-10, which is just crazy talk. But again, I expect the Detroit Lions to also put up redonkulous numbers, right? They're going to put up something much closer to a 36 points. That's my thoughts. 27 Bears, 36 Detroit. And that's really rooted on the missing link being Andrew Billings in this football game. That's the missing link in this football game coming down the road, in my opinion. Andrew Billings really would give the Bears the ability to try to drill down that rushing attack. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it. And that two-headed monster of a rushing attack they have, it's gonna be the undoing of the Chicago Bears this coming weekend, which in my opinion is just fine. Because again, I believe that we're going to see an awesome football game with a fair amount of offense from both sides. It won't just be garbage time and domination. I think it'll be a really good football game, but I do expect the Lions to take it home in the end.
FFG?
Yeah, in my opinion, I really see.
Let me rephrase it because Kedz said a whole goddamn lot right there.
I did indeed.
We stay on point because Kedz will do the whole podcast in one take. So let me get everything square. Okay, so let's just be clear. You think the Bears can win, and let's give a particular reason why.
Well, I think it comes down to, or are you talking to Kedz or me?
No, you for sure.
Okay, so me, it comes down to 2 players on offense and 2 players on defense. two players on defense that need to be utilized the best, in my opinion. Number one, Kyler Gordon. He needs to blitz more. He needs to be up in the tackling lanes. And also Kevin Byard. He needs to play the run a lot more this game and let who's ever going to be the free safety be the free safety. And they need to more switch roles this game. He could still play center field at times, depending on when they think they're going to pass. But when they know they're going to run, I want him up making tackles. So I need those two defenders that aren't a linebacker, that aren't a lineman, making tackles. And then I need the old man, like Kedz was talking smack to the whole game last week. I need him to show and prove that $20 million we paid him is worth it. And then I also need to see Cole Kmet do a hell of a better job blocking and getting open, because that is going to make Caleb's life so much easier and the checkdowns and to keep the ball moving so we don't stall out on these drives. If that can happen, we have two guys that can keep the chains moving. We're going to have two guys that come up and stop the run. We can take advantage of a lot of the bad throws that Jared Goff happens to have against us, because the show that we show, he does not pass well against, and the pressure gets to him and he starts chucking it up. So I really think those four players are the key to this game.
All right. Here's my take. I'm gonna build this comment, and I'm gonna not try to take too much time because we got a whole show to do and we got plenty to talk about. But I'm gonna give these guys something to bite here. Number one, Andrew Billings is a big deal. Number one. Number two, it's an easy fix. You know, a lot of guys are missing big players in the middle of their defenses. And what is Detroit going to see when they look at us on film? They're going to see that in the middle of the defense, running the ball is accessible, right? So what do you do to complement your shortcomings in your running game? You run blitz sets. You run blitz packages, you mug the middle, and you make sure you got people there. You got that thing populated. You got the middle of the field populated. And so right off the bat, Detroit is not going to do anything funky. They're going to test you right away and see if you can stop them from doing what they do best, and that's running directly at you in the middle of your defense and out there on the edge, running those stretch plays and, you know, those motions and getting the jet sweeps to St. Brown and what's his name, number 9, Jamison Williams. That's what they're going to want to do. They're going to see if they can get their core base plays off on you. And those are the things to look out for. They're going to come right at you in the middle. Number one, look for that early. 2, they're going to see what they can get from you on the edge. So they're going to test you in the run game in the middle and on the edge. All you got to do is get it populated. Period. What do I mean by that? You probably heard Eric Washington talk about that in his presser today. If you watch that, make sure you got people in place and they're aligned and know their discipline, know the rules, stay in position, and they will get these guys. They will get these guys. They did a real good job at that the last 2 games that they played. Here's where I'm not going to say we have a particular advantage because I don't think we do. But here's where it gets different for us right now. With them playing, with us being able to play some solid defense against them, not letting them get too much on the ground. What's different now as opposed to the last time we played them is the offense is a lot more prolific at this point with Thomas Brown and Caleb Williams. They're really starting to connect and gel, and those fuses are starting to touch. And you're starting to see a little electricity out of what they're doing. And here's what I think is the kicker, and I'll pass it on to Kedz. I look at everything that's happened so far, and I'm kind of having a brain fart right now, but it's coming back to me as we speak. But I don't think Detroit really knows. I think the Bears offensively saw their strongest and toughest test this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. I think that was the probably most tricky off defense that Caleb was going to face all year long. And he passed that test. He passed that test with flying colors. Detroit has no such problem. You know what I mean? They're very basic on defense. Very, very basic. Can they disguise a coverage or 2? Yes. Can they mock up a blitz or 2 that they didn't see on film? Yes. but they won't be near the conundrum that Brian Flores was this week. So whatever you saw Caleb be last week against the Vikings, that's going to magnify this week because they don't present nowhere near the problem that Minnesota. I think we can all agree on that. Detroit on defense doesn't provide the problem that Minnesota did. Can we agree on that, kids?
They're different things.
So what's your take on that? Because Minnesota, nobody's been able to crack that nut. I'm so. This is what I'm trying to say, guys. Like I'm so. And a little bit of love to the folks in the chat there. Mofu, Gracie, Adam, Ralph Love. I'm coming to you here in a second. Victor Dragon, Carl. Shout out to all you guys. Ralph. Ralph's talking about Thomas Brown. Let Thomas Brown go be the OC for 3 years. Then after we fire the next coach, we bring him back. Which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny, right? It's a funny thing to say because this is where my head's been the last couple of days. And it's funny, right? Like Nomad, you were kind of on this bandwagon here a little while ago. I'm starting to get on. And at the very least, I'm not saying he needs to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears, bar none. I think he should be the head coach of the Chicago Bears right now so that we can give an evaluation on this guy. That's my 2 cents. Because I think the evaluation on the present guy is just about finished. Right? I don't think we're going to see anything special here that will entice, you know what I'm saying? Give the guy the opportunity to at least try out, and then you see whether he has the chops. Because what's worse is if he walks out the door, just like Ralph is saying, you let him walk out the door. What if he goes and he becomes not an OC, but an HC for somebody else? And now he's a big guy, and things are going awesome for him, and it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda Chicago again. At least these are reasons why you let go of a coach mid-season. These are actual reasons why. Because your evaluation of your present coach is complete, and you get an opportunity to have a test run with the guy and see if he's any good. Right this moment, I think he's actually really good at what he's doing. I want to see more. And we're going to see more this weekend. Just for the record, kids, you're partially leaking tomorrow's show on some extra sauce, but I'm going to reframe it. What do you think about what I just said about the fact that the riddle me this guy on Minnesota was Caleb's toughest challenge? I think mentally and physically that had to be the toughest challenge. I heard you, Minister Charles, said you felt like they dialed it back. I think they dialed it back because Caleb started to find the answers during the game. During the game, he started finding the answers, him and Thomas Brown, and was finding the holes, and they had to get back. They had to back the defense up a little bit, Minister Charles, because they were finding answers for what they were trying to do to him. And so to me, I'm talking about when I look at the game schematically, kids, this is for a rookie quarterback, this is absolutely his toughest challenge. And I'm not saying that the Detroit Lions aren't a tough challenge. It's a different kind of challenge. What I'm saying is the mental gymnastics that Caleb had to do preparing for this game that game against Minnesota. This is going to be a lot easier. He's going to find way more cleaner windows to throw in, way more easier. The line will have an easier job protecting him because they won't do what Minnesota tried to do to us.
Here's what I hope happened. I hope that past game helped the game slow down for Caleb Williams, because I think that's really what he got. What he got yesterday was a crash course in diagnosis, right? What are you being faced with? Diagnose it, nail the guy. Boom. And that's all we saw this past Sunday, which is a beautiful thing. Previously, we didn't see a lot of that. He was having troubles with the diagnosis and come to understand some stuff, right? So his presser after the game, they asked him about the sack he took, that big nasty sack he took in overtime. And what he said was related to some confusion elsewhere that just threw everything off. Right? So the confusion was, for some reason, the kicking team was coming out. They're going for it, and what happened?
It was second down when he got sacked. There was no kicking team coming out. He took a sack on second down to make it 3rd and 20. He could have threw it away. He could have threw it away, and he could have got the 10 yards on 3rd down, or made it easier just to go for it on 4th down if they were going to go for it.
There's the reason behind it is that the play call that came into him was confused. All right. It became confused because of some other sideways stuff that happened on the sidelines. So finally, when the play call eventually comes into him, it's garbled, and it was a run play, and he was like, no, like, we're not running here. And he had to change things up, and things kind of went sideways from there. And that's more or less the conversation that Caleb was putting out there, which just leads to a little bit more. It's a little bit of a throw Flus under the bus situation. I'll be frank about that. And it was interesting, and Flus had to speak to it as well. But we'll see how long the Bears decide to roll with this type of confusion. And this is really what I'm trying to say. If stuff like that, if mismanagement is occurring on the sidelines, and it bleeds its way into the microphone, into the headset of your quarterback, things can become confusing.
I don't know that, all of that kind of stuff is, we shouldn't be having that shit go on. But, truth is, FFG, that happens on every team unless you got like this.
Well, can I speak to that a little bit?
Go for it.
Okay, there should be no confusion in the sideline because Thomas Brown is in the booth. So who's ever in the sideline got nothing to say unless it's Flus. For that
but
play.
This is who we're talking about. We're not talking. There's no one else.
Well, he's not calling the plays though. That's so he should. I don't care what he said. This is why.
How that shit works is they got channels, and like if you're Flus, you got to be dialed in for the special teams channel, the offensive channel, and you got to be dialed in for the defensive channel. It's those you got to click into this, you got to click into that, and the third. And if it's not organized the right way, where I don't know exactly what went wrong, but the wires got crossed, and it probably was a little bit too much communication going on. I don't know where it went wrong, to be honest with you.
Well, here's my take on it. Once you knew you were getting the ball to start overtime, then here was the game plan, coach. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Here's how we're going to run it. Now, if we're behind down distance, like it was 2nd and 8, something like that. Now we know where we're running. Hey, we're calling this play to get a quick out, or we're getting a curl route. We're getting to get the yards. So 3rd down will be easier. So we need to run because we got plenty of time. We can. So, but back to your original question. Yeah.
So what happens if a run play comes right there when the pass play is supposed to be, right? It's coming out, except the communication is garbled.
Right,
what
but
do you
Thomas
do?
Brown is making the call. So if he's calling the pass play, Flus shouldn't be saying
communication garbled between Flus on the sidelines, Thomas Brown, and Caleb. And really all Caleb was saying was like, if things were quieter with the rest of this, everything would have been fine. I would have got the correct call out, and I would have hit Keenan on the route. Instead,
I think what both of y'all are getting at is when that's coming in, the communication should be directly between the quarterback, offensive coordinator. Anybody else on that line should be just a listener. It should be clean. Should be the functionality of it should be really, really clean. And when Flus speaks on that channel, on whatever the offensive channel, whatever the offensive channel is, when he speaks on it, it should be a particular down distance and a particular point in the end of half, end of game situations where every head coach has a prerogative to have a say-so in what's being called. Other than that, that line should be fucking clean.
Right. It should especially on 2nd down, that should be the offensive coordinator deciding what play to call. But back to your original question, Nomad, which you was asking about Minnesota's defense. I think, yeah, they play the most hybrid style of defense in the league, where you have no idea what their base is actually going to be play to play, regardless of the matchup, regardless of what you're trying to do to them, what the score is usually. So they're always trying to confuse you. So for him to prevail against that style, and when he start making plays based on the calls that Thomas Brown was making all game, so Flus needs to shut the hell up, because he's been keeping him in the game, had him come back, everything. And this kid played a hell of a game by breaking him down. Even when the plays were broken, he was out there making plays. So let that go. Now, if you see there's a glaring problem as a head coach, then yeah, you could chime in. But don't be trying to call plays in a crunch, because that's not your job. Your job is to manage, say, okay, this is what we're going to run. Let's see if it works. Now, if we're getting third and short, let's run it on them, because I've been watching, they're weak on this side, something like that. But the second down call shouldn't have been, no coach other than Thomas Brown should have been involved. Maybe he was talking to an assistant, hey, this is what's been working. This is what you saw. Now let's hit him on this. That's the only kind of situation it had been, and the call should have came in, bang, 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 right after first down. But yeah, I think this week, Detroit's more of an in-your-face defense. They're going to attack you, come straight ahead. So now, this is where your man-to-man matchups should be dominating, because they're going to put these rookies out there on islands. So now you need to run plays to beat them quick and easy, and use your skilled wide receivers who have a lot of experience, a lot of go-to moves. Let them cut loose out there and get yards. And then your play action will help your tight end make easy matchups down the middle of the field, because they play zone too. Now you can run the ball. I just really don't see how this is going to, like how they've been shutting teams down. They've been watching what you do and try to stop it. They really don't know what we do, because Thomas Brown is only taken over 2 weeks ago. So they don't have a lot of film to look at. So this is another advantage we have over the Lions for the offense they've been seeing for the last 3 years, with Justin Fields running ripshot over their behind. You know what I mean? Now they got to prepare for something different.
I'll tell you, here's another particular why I think we could have the advantage here. I think when it comes to unlocking the Detroit Lions offense, it's not a very, very complicated task. It's not very complicated. It's just about executing in your fronts and making sure they can't run all over you, because once they start running over you, they will not stop. They will continue to hand that ball off and continue to bite chunks out of your defense. Got to slow them down in the run game. You don't have to stop them, but you got to slow them down. I'm about to show you guys real quick the Lions-Bears game. It was November 19th last year, 2023, and we lost in Detroit. I'm about to share the screen right now. I'm going to show you some stuff. And this is some particular stuff that needs to be pointed out, to be quite frank with you. And here it is. All right, can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? Let me know if you can see it.
A little bigger, but yeah.
Here's the box score. All right, so of course we had Justin Fields at that time. Never mind that stat. Okay, what we did to them offensively was one thing, but looking down here on defense, why are we not seeing our Detroit line? Let me see. Let's see their box score. Is what I'm looking for.
Go back over. Just click on Detroit. It'll switch to teams. Go back.
I messed it up then, didn't I?
Yeah.
So right here?
No. See on the other side? It shows their box score. Right here. Detroit.
Okay, I see it. My bad. All right, so here's something that sticks out to me. You see Jared Goff with the 236 yards in the air, 2 TDs, and 3 picks. Circle that, number one. David Montgomery, 12 carries, 76 yards. Not bad for 12 carries. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 carries, 36 yards. Jared Goff, 2 carries for 3. But here's where it gets interesting. In the passing game, Jahmyr Gibbs, they let him get too much. 6 passes for 59 yards. So they got to do a better job with that. Jameson Williams had 2 for 44. David Montgomery, 2 for 22. These other guys, pretty pedestrian. But here's the key right here. 8 for 77. And most of this probably happened late, I do believe. I can't really think.
Just go to the play-by-play, like the fourth quarter, and you'll see that last 4 minutes. Most of Jared Goff's points and everything came from there.
Yes. Here's what, if you can throttle this guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you can keep him from having an explosive game, you giving yourself a chance to win it. Because that is the insurance for Jared Goff. When things ain't going right, when they're not getting what they want, they really try to force feed the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you can take him out of the game and throttle Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery just a little bit, keep him from being a major factor in the game, that's when you can give yourself a chance. I'm gonna come back to the studio real quick and take that screen down unless you guys want to talk about some more of what y'all just seen up there. I see you, Don Burr. I got something for you later, Jack. But what do you guys think about that? I think the key to it is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kedz, you muted, bro.
My bad. Look, Amon-Ra St. Brown is an important factor. I don't expect him to have a big game against us. This secondary can handle that. Him and Laporta hasn't been having a great season. I'll put those things out there. Jameson Williams is hot and cold, right? That's it. I think the secondary, if it wasn't as banged up as it is, and or in confusion as it is, would be able to manage this passing situation. So again, the passing situation is not what worries me at all. Again, I believe the Bears secondary, even with questions around, even starting Terrell Smith, is still one of the better secondaries in the league. I truly believe that. Minus Jaquan Brisker, things get a little bit more dicey. But I have to give Kevin Byard a major shout out. He's playing amazing football. My problem isn't there. My problem is the run. My problem is Andrew Billings isn't here. And I don't know if they're going to be able to hold Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery to these types of numbers this time around. I think this flips. I think they continue the success against the pass against the Detroit Lions. I'm not so sure they're going to be able to manage this rushing attack.
Well, FFG is probably not with us.
No, I'm with you. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. My camera's off. Sorry. Well, the most important, if you scroll up just a little bit,
let me get back.
When you look at this game, just scroll up. So those 3 interceptions, and scroll down just a little bit. So that 3 interceptions, right? Keep going down just a little bit further. Right there. Fumbles lost. So we have 4 turnovers in this game before they came back. We played passive the last 5, even on offense. When we could have scored, we were across midfield when we had 26 points, and they stalled out at the 40 because Lukey Dookie, what we used to call him, he wouldn't be aggressive. They were not aggressive. And so we went 3 and out. And they came back and scored 2 touchdowns. We had the ball again. And then we got, a turnover or interception or something, fumbled, and they got a safety. Right? That's how they won by 5. We was up 11. So that was a 16-point turnaround in 4 minutes and 21 seconds. So we had the ball 3 times on offense and didn't do diddly squat. I seriously doubt this time around Thomas Brown is going to be like, oh, we're just going to sit and hold the ball and we're going to run when you know it's coming and we punt. We're going to attack them. We're going to make them earn every point again. If you look at the second game that we played them, it looked almost like this, except they didn't score down the stretch. We shut them down. And Jared Goff still had 3 interceptions. They still had a fumble, turnover on downs. We was shutting them down with the team we have. So
I hate to tell Don Burr, you're going to be sick to your stomach because I'm telling you now, Don, I don't give a damn what the records are, How I know every team is different from year to year. It's a different roster, but the same core pieces are there. And the truth is, Detroit ain't hard to figure out. It's about whether you can stop them doing the basics. If you can stop them doing the basics, take away Jared Goff's insurance policy and Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're going to give yourself a hell of a chance. And if you can get him to turn that damn ball over, kids, I think that's the key. Both games, this game that you're looking at that we lost, we should have won that game. That should have been a win, but we didn't get it. Kudos to the Detroit Lions, but that should have been a win, but we spanked the shit out of them in the next game.
Doug, I'm so with you, except I just don't know about this rush situation. The Bears have been very soft on the run, especially since Andrew Billings has been out, right? So that's my worry. These two guys run the ball hard and can. They can also both catch the ball, right? In play action situations. We're well aware of that with David Montgomery. It's not the greatest pass catching running back in the world, but he'll definitely eat up a bunch of yards on you if you allow him to do so. Jahmyr Gibbs might be one of the the greatest pass catching back in the world. Like, let's be honest about that. He could be. That being said, I'm worried about the running game situation, and I do expect the secondary to shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown has not had great showings against the Chicago Bears. He just hasn't. Right, Don? Like, Don, you can look it up. He hasn't had great showings. Oh, funny. He hasn't had great showings against the Chicago Bears. He just hasn't. Oh, wow. He came prepared. See how that slowly came in?
You stink, Don. You always come in here talking shit. I gotta get something for you, man.
That's pretty funny. That's hilarious. Don smells like hot dog water. Take that. Don. After 3 weeks, 3-week-old hot dog.
He's nervous, man. He's nervous, and I know he's nervous, man. And he can't help himself, man, because he knows this is that matchup. You got to fear it, man, because for whatever reason, that basic ass shit that y'all call makes it easy for eberflus to call a defense. We got the pieces. Man. It's just about whether we can stop y'all on the ground or not. Once we do that, y'all in trouble, straight up.
That's the question. The question of the night is, can the Chicago Bears stop the Detroit Lions on the ground? Because the rushing attack is disgusting. It is. But conversely, I don't think the Detroit Lions defense is really in a good position to manage the Chicago Bears offense if Thomas Brown is the offensive coordinator. And he is. You don't know what's coming. It's complete wild card territory, right? Who knows what's coming out of Thomas Brown's sleeve? And we're watching Caleb Williams get better week on week. We're watching him start to utilize these weapons around him in quick fashion. So I don't know if these guys are ready for all of that offensively. I think it's going to be a great football game. I think both teams are going to put up a pretty nasty, pretty nasty offensive output. We'll see what the outcome is. Bears can stop the ground game. Bear down, y'all.
We ain't got to stop them, FFG. We just got to slow them down.
Hey, what I want to see in this game is a lot of run blitzes. And if you're actually going play action, now we come after the quarterback. So regardless, we can shut down the run, and we can get to the quarterback if they're trying to run play action. So we're going to be able to get home a lot quicker on runs and passes if they would trust the secondary more. And I think that is the evolution that Flus needs to understand, or whoever is calling them plays on defense. I think he needs to let John Hope and Washington be involved more in the game planning and say, hey, look, this is how we can beat this team. Let's run blitz into them. If it's not a run blitz, now we just going after Jared Goff and he going to chuck one. We're going to get our interceptions. Don't worry, because we can cover on the outside. We're bigger and we're just as fast as everybody on their team.
Here's another and I spoke about this ad nauseum, man. I almost made myself sick talking about it, kids. You know that, FFG, you know it. And I kept harping on it because it was a poignant area that just wasn't being addressed. Flus did shit when it came to in-game adjustments, man. And when they wasn't providing pressure. And Sam Darnold remained clean for pretty much the entire game, and he picked us apart because he had time to do it, and they never got out of the 4-man fronts and 4-man pass rush. They didn't blitz Kyler when they should have. They didn't blitz the linebacker until way late in the game. You can remember, like, way late in the game, you saw T.J. Edwards come on a blitz. You saw Tremaine come on a blitz. Where was that shit early? Man, you need that stuff in first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and the fourth quarter. And he didn't make the adjustments until late. He can't look at this, kids. He can't look at that film and look late in the game and saw what effect, how he made that quarterback give up to throw that ball early into the into the snap. You can't look at that and not go into this game and not correct that. You got another statue back there. Sam Darnold's a much better athlete than Jared Goff. That statue ain't gonna change. All you got to do is dial up the pressure, get after him, and you will get what you want out of Jared Goff every single time.
Oh, sorry. Are we waiting for Matt Eberflus to dial up pressure? Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little bit iffy about this game, but I know it's going to be a real good football game, man. I know it's going to be an awesome game. First of all, interdivisional situation. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a good football game. Thanksgiving in the U.S. Again, it'll be a good game. High flying. I think Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze. I think we're going to see good output from this offense, and it's going to catch Detroit out of left field. And the linchpin is going to be, is David Monk, like, there's another side to this. And I'll put it out there now. And the other side is DeAndre Swift game. DeAndre Swift revenge game, y'all. So there was just.
I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that myself.
Monty had his last year. So, yeah.
He did, right? So he did. DeAndre
Swift going to be ready to run hard on them cats this week.
I think he will
knows what they run. It ain't like he don't know. And I guarantee he telling everything this week and how they practice, what they do on defense, how the holes, what they see in practice. I guarantee you, because they haven't changed. They just got better pieces. You know what I mean? You got to think about it. Since been there, they had crap pieces. They've been running the same thing for years. It ain't like they overhauled the team and got a new coordinator. No, they got better pieces to run the same stuff, and they do it really well. So he knows what they're going to run too. He'll be like, look, watch for this. Watch the motion. I'm telling you, he telling everything all week in the offensive huddle, defensive huddle. I guarantee they didn't pick his brain about this game way before we even got to this week. He already knows.
See? So that's what I would like to see, you know. I'd like to see him come back to his old stomping grounds and really give what for, you know, not just for himself, but to make this an awesome football game to watch. I think he has the ability to do so both on the ground and in the air, right? He's a comparable back in that respect.
Yeah, I think he needs to teach them why they should have kept him, you know, over Jamal, what's his name, who went to New Orleans. Was it Jamal Williams who went to New Orleans? Mm-hmm. They got rid of DeAndre Swift. And look, he ain't even, who he playing for now? Nobody.
He's in New Orleans. I'm not sure if he's playing a lot, but that's where he's at.
When last time you heard his name? I ain't heard his name in 2 years.
Yeah, it might be right about that.
Here's another quiet little conundrum that looks like it's going to be a trend, and I don't know really what this means other than, you know, Tyreek has been a little bit undisciplined. I ain't talking about that Hail Mary play. That's to the side. That's different. But I'm watching him play the game, and I'm listening to Eric Washington today in his presser, and they were talking about Terrell Smith and, you know, what he liked about him and why he's getting minutes and all that kind of stuff. And it's because he's playing more disciplined than Tyreek. And I'm talking about in the fundamentals of the scheme. And you heard, I should play it, but I'm not going to because it's going to cost us. But in that presser, if you go back and listen to it, I encourage y'all guys to do that. Go back and listen to it. And he's describing Terrell Smith, and he's talking about He knows what he's doing, and he's good in one-on-one man coverage. And he's talking about how guys get overzealous in the situations and they try to make a play, when they really shouldn't. And when you go try to make a play and a defense made like that, and you don't make that play, you compromise the rest of the defense. So it's a gamble. You don't want to take that aggressiveness away from Tyrique Stevenson. But if the aggressiveness is leaving, holes or weaknesses in the rest of the defense, there's 10 other guys that got to make up for where you come up short. And so when you look at the all-22, you can see, I can see it basically Tyrique Stevenson is cheating at times. And he's looking, and his eyes are in places that they shouldn't be. And he's not making plays where he should be because he's looking elsewhere. How do I know that? It's because that scheme that I come from, you got to maintain your core discipline and make sure you took care of your job. And once you do that, then if you got to cheat and do something else, then you can do that. But right now, he is not staying true to what they're supposed to do. He's kind of being a wild card out there. And I think that's led to Eric Washington. Hold on. That's led to Eric Washington or Flus, whoever, deciding to give Terrell Smith some minutes, is because right now I seen on all 22, Tyrique is, I hate to say it, but he's kind of like the chink in the armor right now, man, because he's a little undisciplined. Not to say he can't fix it, which I know he will when he loses minutes against Terrell, but yeah, he's doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing, and it's costing the defense sometimes. But I just had to put that out there, kids.
Fine. Play Terrell Smith. To be honest with you, again, we don't. You know what you lose and you know what you gain with Terrell Smith. They're different players, both very, very good, very high caliber player. Terrell Smith coming in. Somebody mentioned it earlier in the chat, and he suggested maybe you play Stevenson at safety. What are I wanted to ask you about that, Nomad. What are your thoughts on that as a positional shift right now in the absence of Jaquan Brisker?
Technically, I'm glad you asked me that because Tyrique has the build to do it.
I thought so.
Tyrique's his bottom half is pretty healthy, and that's what you need to be in order to be able to play safety, man. You need to be able to thump and have some bottom behind you, and he's got that, man. Tyrique's he's nicely built below the waist, man. And he can, if they needed Tyrique to play safety, I think he'd be up for the challenge. But do they need him right now to play safety? I don't think so, man. I think they're set right now with the guys that they have, and I think those guys play pretty well. Owens got picked on a little bit, but that's okay. You know what I mean? He found himself in some one-on-one coverages, and that's okay. But if they needed Tyrique to play some safety, I don't know that they try to get him to do that this year because he hasn't done it all camp. Not to say that he can't, but yeah, at some point, just to get Terrell Smith on the field, that's not a bad. We actually talked about that, kids, many times. Before we even drafted, like maybe that's an option for either Terrell Smith or Tyrique Stevenson, just to get both of those guys on the field.
That was it. We talked about that and made that suggestion the other way around, right? It was more Terrell Smith as the safety and Tyrique as the cornerback in that situation. But Tyrique plays aggressively enough that I think you wouldn't see a huge drop off. He's really great. He's a really great tackler, man. Kid can tackle like you wouldn't believe, and he breaks down and closes distance very quickly. Anyhow, that discipline stuff, I get it. He's been messing around, and I think I think they are cutting his minutes because of that, and that's a shame, right?
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to describe without looking at the all 22, but I can see when I look at Tyrique and where I know he needs to be. See the difference between me and somebody else doing the all 22 breakdown or describing to you what they see on an all 22 breakdown is I played Tyrique's role. I played Kyler's role. I played Jalen Johnson's role, where he kind of trailed Justin Jefferson all over the field for pretty much the whole game, no matter what coverage they were in. And Tyreek, I'm looking at him on the all 22, and I'm seeing him like, Tyreek, dog, you're losing your leverage, and he's chasing stuff, trying to jump and make a play, and basically trying to change the game around. It's basically what he's trying to do, and that's just aggressiveness that you can respect. It's really aggressiveness that you can respect, FFG, because you don't want to. Tyreek, they brought Tyreek into the system knowing that that's what they were getting. He's an aggressive football player, and he wants to make plays. And the way he's played so far this year in the defense, he's not being put in position to make plays. The defense is not being called right so that it's advantageous for the secondary and the linebackers to make plays. It's very, very passive, and he's getting a little bored and a little anxious back there, and his eyes are in places that he shouldn't be. And that's called losing discipline in your coverage. That's all it is. But he can see that on film, and he'll dial it back because he's going to end up losing minutes. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Terrell Smith started this game. Just for the record, it wouldn't be a surprise to me because it was that obvious on the all 22. Tyreek's his eye discipline is not right now, and that's almost a reason to sit him on the bench when you have an equal to damn near better backup in there to put in there. So. You guys can go look at it for yourself, but he is definitely out of position a lot of times, and it's costing the team.
Yeah, right. I think this kid needs to focus more on his role and stop trying to be a superhero. Because if he's locked into his role with his speed, his size, and his hands, because last year he had 4 interceptions, and just by learning the defense, playing on time, playing discipline, doing what they ask him to do. Now, me personally, what I would love to see is I would love to see him move to free safety and then go draft that kid out of Notre Dame to be the thumper at strong safety. And then we would take off next year, get him in the 2nd or 3rd round. And our secondary would be no joke because you can have Terrell out playing. So you have 2 tall corners, you have a tall safety. So and then you have a thumper coming in to take Jaquan's position, unfortunately, because he's just not going to be healthy. I just really don't think that he's ever going to be a full-time player again. But you can get this young kid on another rookie contract where you can have not only speed, length, ball hawking ability, and another person to step up in the run game. So
that sucks.
Well, let me describe. This is probably the best way to kind of make the point I'm trying to make, and I think you guys will get it. All right, just picture looking at an all 22 from the offensive quarterback standpoint, and you're looking at the defense. You'll see Tyreek over there on the right side, right, and you'll see Jalen on the other, right. Let's just say he's in a cover 2, right? He's in a cover 2, and he's got this particular area that he needs to police. And so in this area, he's seeing the receiver, that receiver come off on a fly route. So he's screaming right past Tyreek. So his first steps are backwards, right? He's taking his first steps backwards to make sure that dude isn't doing a curl route right behind him, and he's right there in place to make sure he gets that curl route in case the quarterback throws over there. At the same time, here comes a tight end or a running back coming across the field over into his area. And instead of playing that middle and trying to make sure that you got both of those covered, he's making the choice to get up there and try to jump that crossing route and leaving that curl route behind him open. You get what I'm saying? Like it's a dual responsibility. You got 2 things going on in your area. One, you already know what's going on behind you. It's a guy either taking a fly behind you or he's curling right behind.
What happened, bro? Well,
man.
We lost.
Technical difficulties.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's playing out of position. He's deciding automatically in the defense if it's not called that way. That's basically what he's saying. So instead of keeping the deeper route, he's focusing on the shallow route and negating his responsibility behind him where the play is actually going. and now it's 15 to 20 yards instead of you giving up the 5 to 6, where you could have come up and made the tackle, or the linebacker could have came over and made the tackle.
Well, we'll see how all that shakes out in the end. I don't know what they're going to do with Tariq. I think it's a little bit shaky of a position for them to draft again so quickly. Like, sorry, to talk about Jaquan. Yeah, it'll be interesting if they really focus on the safety position again. That's
I
an
think they
unfortunate.
should, just for the simple fact of him being out for his injury. So he's pretty much has to either be replaced, or they just have to have someone on standby.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. This will be end of his 3rd year now. So now his contract is up next year. So if you draft his replacement now, if he stays hurt or can't play, you got plug and play for the next 4 years. So that's where I draft Watts out of Notre Dame, because that kid is all over the field. He's used to playing this weather. He played down the street. You know what I mean? It ain't like he don't really got to move. You know what I'm saying? He can stay in his apartment over there in Bend, Indiana, and drive right to the stadium.
Yeah, I
It's
imagine
a
they're gonna
win-win
invest
situation for the Bears.
draft pick or free agency. My bad. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good.
No, they had some great safeties in this year's draft as well, to be frank with you. Really good safeties later in the draft that were definitely available. It's just an unfortunate situation because they drafted Jaquan so high, and they really expected a long career. I expected a long career for Jaquan Brisker as a Chicago Bear.
I think most people did.
You know what I'm saying? I think he also felt the exact same way too, but unfortunately, sometimes the health situation creeps up on you, and it is what it is. Unfortunately, man, there's not much you can do.
His head, not his shoulders. He's trying to knock everybody out, and who he's knocking out is himself.
That is an unfortunate situation. Not a good situation.
Unfortunately, But I mean, if this kid could ever, if he comes back healthy, I mean, there's a chance that they say, "Hey, look, I don't ever want to see your head down on another play. I want to see you put your helmet right between the numbers." It doesn't want to happen like that. But if you're spearing people all over the field, you're going to lose not only yourself, but you're going to lose a career by not playing fundamental football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because today's they say it's about safety, but it ain't. It's really about we can't have we don't want to pay the money like we should have paid the dudes back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s when they was doing the same thing you do. Now they all old and crippled and can't get a job and can barely think straight and living in, damn near homeless shelters trying to get some aid because now you have the NFL ain't taking care of you. That's what's going to happen to this kid unless he really saves his little money.
That's this guy. We'll see how it works out with Jaquan Brisker. Like I said, I really like him. I think he's an amazing player, and I hope and pray that he can make it through concussion protocol and into good standing next season whenever he returns, whenever he gets back. Right. Besides that, what's going on here?
My fault, gentlemen. I just had the internet breakdown of all internet breakdowns. I had to start my stuff all back over. I had too much going on in one room, and it popped everything. Everything just popped. But anyway, I thought I was making the most poignant point in the world about Tyree Stevenson.
It's gone now, man. If you can bring it back from where you were, I'll be impressed.
I helped you out, Nomad. Don't worry.
I think we sussed it out, man. I think we sussed it out.
Yeah, but you remember? Only thing I would say to that is you remember the play when you saw T.J. Edwards chasing that dude down the field on the sidelines. I want to say that was Tyreek. I believe it was Tyreek. When I've seen so much stuff, man. I get like a brain fart thinking about the stuff that I saw, and I believe that was Tyreek in the particular situation that I.
Damn, your internet really is bad.
And he snuck down underneath to try to jump a play underneath him and left that open over the top and made TJ look bad. I believe though, but I'll go back into the all 22 and tell you guys for sure on some extra sauce tomorrow. But I'll look at that again. But it's a real simple, pimple, easy thing to fix. You just got to, Tyreek's just got to be more disciplined than that. You know what I mean? That's easy. It's not that he's a bad player and we need to get rid of him. No, it's just really aggressive football play that you need to taper when you're playing in that style of defense. You can't get out of position, and you can't, when you do, you're going to make somebody else look bad. It looked like TJ was effing up on that play, didn't it?
Yeah, because he had a trail. Yeah. He had to trail and run behind the receiver that was left on the outside.
Yo, Crimson, that's funny, dog. That's funny, bro.
I'm dropping shit.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Hey, man.
Internet connection.
I got a quick question for you because I'm not sure if you heard this. But what would you say if they actually decided to move Stevenson to safety to learn from what you call it?
Kevin Byard?
Kevin Byard, and then draft that kid Watts to be the backup behind or take over for Brisker next year. So you have
that's off-season stuff, man.
But I'm just saying, what would you think if that's how the defense shifted? So you got another thumper. Now you can let Tariq see the whole field, and now he can now he can use his aggression to track the ball or to track a man to make those plays instead of having to worry about. Because remember, he was a cover corner at Miami. He wasn't the greatest in zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now he will have a larger zone where he can actually cover and be rangy and go up and make tackles with his frame.
When he was coming out a couple of years ago, again, I was still at the bar room, in conversations with, I think I was talking about, I might have been talking to Danny Shimon or somebody during that process. And I don't know if it was on air or off air, seemed like so long ago, but I do remember having this particular conversation. And I did say to one of them over there that I thought that Tyreek might make for a better safety. His body type, everything spells safety to me, but he's good at corner, and he'd be good at this. He'd be good fit. He'll be a good fit in the scheme because I felt like we needed aggressive guys like that really, brought something extra to the team. The chippiness and the way he plays, his style of play fit what we had a need for, and so I did like the pick. But at safety, what's funny about this FFG and Kedz is because we're going to have a new coach come in. And whoever that coach is, there's going to be a coordinator that comes in and sees the personnel the way they see the personnel, not the way Flus sees his personnel. And so we got solid personnel. It's just about what do they want to do with them? Do they see Tyreek as a corner? Do they see Tyreek as a safety? How does Tyreek respond to if they ask him to go back and
fourth?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I want to know who's actually playing offensive line this week. Like, who's going to be blocking? That's what I want to know.
Offensive line on our side?
Yeah.
Right now?
So I want to see some consistency for a change.
I think you might get that this week.
I'm going to be out there this week playing.
I think you might get that this week. I don't think, as of right now, I'm going to take a peek. I don't think there's much by way of inactives for the Bears. Let me just see.
I want to know who's even probably going to dress for the game. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for.
Right now, maybe not Ryan Bates, maybe not Kiran, but everybody else seems to be okay. I'm not sure if there was any specific injuries this week so far.
Elijah Hicks is still questionable, and so is Ryan Bates.
Yeah, that makes sense. Both of them. So we'll see. We'll see come Wednesday if we get any more news on who's available on that front. But I think we're okay. I think we'll be all right. I think there'll be a little bit of continuity there, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather have Hicks play if he's healthy enough, because that way you don't have to depend on Simone Biles' husband to be that.
What's wrong with that? My guy came out, played one snap, and got a fumble. Forced a fumble.
He played, yeah. He got a fumble. He also gave up a touchdown. So
6 to 1, half dozen of the other.
Right. So I mean, yeah, one good play and one bad play. But he played a lot more than just.
I tried, Mr. Biles. I tried, man. I tried to give you a little bit of love. FFG said, "F that."
No. I'm saying he can play. I just don't want him to be the starter, because really he's the third string if you look at it.
I don't know what happened, man. My internet went janky on me again, and I get back in here. We're talking about Simone Biles and shit. What happened?
Yeah.
Nah, your internet's
Yeah, you got that Ebernet's really fumbling today, man. Really dropping the ball.
My internet never lets me. I got the best internet in the world, but I don't know what the hell's going on today. But man, dude, we talking about Tyreek and whether he should play safety. That's going to be a whole conversation in the offseason. Trust me when I tell you, it's going to come up many, many, many times, because whether or not we keep Eric Washington and bring in another head, I would like to keep continuity. I don't see anything wrong with keeping Eric Washington, and regardless of what head coach comes in here, and he's going to have his prerogative. And that's the interesting thing. We're going to talk about all that on some extra sauce tomorrow night. But get back into this particular game against Detroit. I think people are rightfully nervous, FFG and Kedz. They should be nervous, because a lot of people are looking at this game like, golly, we got to play this game on national TV in front of the world, and we're going to get embarrassed. And I'm telling you guys, I keep telling you guys, and everybody thought we were going to get embarrassed against the Vikings. And I keep telling you guys, it's all about matchups. Everything's about styles make fights. If you're a boxing fan, then you know exactly what I mean by that. Everybody thinks it's going to go one way, it's going to go the other way, it's going to be lopsided here, lopsided there. It's a divisional game. This game is going to be up in the air. Ain't nobody getting their ass kicked in this game. The only way that happens is if
you turn the ball over.
Completely has lost this locker room, and I have no sense of that right at this moment. I don't have any sense of that. I think the defense is losing confidence in him. Listen to Jalen Johnson several times during the I think he was on 670. I seen him on another podcast later on, and I keep hearing him say this, kids. We're not being put in position. We need to be put in position. What do you think he means by that exactly?
Oh, well, it's pretty obvious, right? There's been a bunch of terrible play calls, especially in crunch time situations, and it's historical at this point. All of the, and we'll just, since we're going up against the Detroit Lions, we'll start with that Detroit Lions game. Basically, Flus gets super duper soft in critical situations in the fourth quarter. Super soft, like extra prevent. Like, look at that Nick Mullins. Was it Nick Mullins? Whoever the backup was.
He's playing a prevent defense against Nick Mullins.
Bro, 13 yards off. It was third and 13, right? So you're playing 13 yards off, allowing that kind of cushion to a wide receiver? That's crazy. What were you preventing? You know what I mean? Like, what were you preventing? You're preventing an over-the-top touchdown? Okay, I get that, but you by no means can you allow a 13-yard strike. Just open that up. And that's just one example against a backup quarterback in a moment of extreme, in a critical moment. That's bad eberflus. So those are the positions that Jalen Johnson is talking about.
I'm about to put up a comment here, but I'm just reading through it. It's Crimson he says, I completely agree, Nomad. I think Flus lost that locker room last year. This team, thin on talent, played their heart out in 2022. it's gotten so far from that. It's hard to say that a coach lost the locker room when you just watched that game last week. Why I said the defense in particular, Crimson, is because I listen to the key players. And there's a rumor by some dude running around out there. I forget the name of him, but he's talking about, guys on the hot seat. There's a conversation that I'm gonna save for tomorrow on some extra sauce. But I'm reading Jalen Johnson when he was on 2 podcasts that I saw today, 670 to score, and he was trying to be careful what he said. I watched him there, and I watched him on another podcast. Can't remember the podcast. But he said the same things. We're not being put in position. And Kedz just kind of crystallized it with what he just said in his statement right there. The fact that you're being passive when you need to be aggressive and not putting your key guys in position to make plays. I think he's losing his defense. The whole team, I think it's like it's like gang territory. The offense is a gang, the defense is a gang, special teams is a gang. I don't think he's lost all of them. The offense is definitely trending up. You know what I mean? You gotta admit that the offense is trending up. So I think he's losing the defense. Has he completely lost them? We're gonna find out Sunday, because if they start really gutting this team and making this ugly early, then you can sit here and tell me that he lost his team. I'm not disagreeing with you, Crimson. I'm saying it's hard to say whether he did or didn't when they keep coming out there and they keep battling and giving everything they got. I know it did look like a couple times during the game, a few times during the game, where it looked like they just completely withdrew. It looked like that at times, but I don't know if it was that or, guys just was out of position and wasn't making plays. I don't know what to say to that, but I think you're going to find out the answer to that, Crimson, come Thursday.
I think the entire locker room hasn't been lost. Strangely, I think he probably has lost Tariq Stevenson. I think that's an individual that we can point to has probably been lost in this process, in this whole situation. He's an important cog in this engine, right? You've lost Jaquan Brisker because he's injured, so he's gone. Kevin Bard's playing like a man with his hair on fire. Mad, I can't say enough how awesome it is to watch those orange sleeves fly across the screen, bro. It is awesome to watch it. I give him mad props, and I hope that continues. The reality is we can't really speak to the rest of that team. I don't know who else he's put in a position to be successful, right? I don't know. It's highly possible that a lot more of those guys have been lost over the course of this season. What I am seeing once more is that the offense is being galvanized, and I don't think it has anything to do with the head coach. I can't give him, and this is the thin line we're walking on right now. Don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. Ain't Matt Eberflus. I gotta initiate that now. It's Thomas Brown. All right. So when this is all said and done, if somehow they win the next 7 games, good Lord above me, please. Please, somebody have been paying attention to the last 48 games. All right. Because in the last 7 games, right, like we've got some Thomas Brown. And he might be good at his job. Last 2 guys might have been terrible. The fact of the matter is, the other guy's not good at his job. That's a proven fact. Shouldn't really question it.
I know we keep filtering over into the head coach conversation.
It's a conversation.
Well, yeah, I get it. But we're talking about has he lost the locker room? And that's the particular questions everybody wants to know the answer to. If you were in that locker room, me, you, Kedz, and FFG, we were all 3 in that locker room, and you can read the tea leaves. There's some pride that I think doesn't get spoken to quite enough. I think people, if we were in that locker room, it'd be easy to tell that, this coach probably ain't going to be here next year. Do we need to take him seriously at this point? And there's that element of the locker room. And then that's where you can that's where a letdown starts to creep in. And then there's that element of the locker room that has leadership, like, nah, dog. Everybody needs to just show up. This is real shit, man. These people will boo us out of this goddamn stadium. And we're not on our own home field, but we got Bears fans that travel, and they will boo us out of this damn stadium, man. We cannot go out there and embarrass ourselves. We got to go out there and compete. We know we can beat these dudes. You got dudes there with the product knowledge of knowing that they can beat Detroit. And so so there's that element, and I don't know which one is more dominant, FFG. Is it that letdown? I know Flus ain't coming back, and is it that element that's going to be dominant in the locker room, or is it going to be we can bust these dudes' ass? We've done it before. Which one is going to be more dominant? I think that's the more poignant question.
In my opinion, I think that the guys in the secondary are probably more susceptible to feeling that, hey, we're not allowed to do our job, that we have more talent and we should be able to showcase what we can do. Same thing with, if you're going to start a nickel, let me do all the things a nickel can do. Let me play run. Let me blitz every now and then. And the linebackers, I think, are in the same boat, that I'm bailing out a lot of times for pass plays, and I'm not in there. I'm not playing downhill in the run game. You know what I mean? And so that may lead to feelings of, hey, I'm not getting any help on the line when we were getting more pressure. We have Big Bill. Now we need to stimulate it a different way, and it's not coming. Darryl Taylor and those guys, like Austin Booker, they looked a lot more promising in the first 5 weeks than they have since Bill went out, because the gaps aren't being controlled. And if you can't control two gaps with one man, then you need another man to be in there. You know what I mean? Because is holding the edge pretty good. I ain't gonna lie, he's holding the edge. But that B gap right next to him, whoosh, people's run up through there. The A gap, whoosh, people's run up through there. So they're losing gap containment by always forcing the linebackers out. Nobody's coming downhill. We're not attacking offenses. And I think that is where the frustration comes from on defense. If you want to be dominant, you have to attack. You can't sit back and wait and let them show their hand every time. Sometimes you got to force it. And in really good defenses, you force it all the time and dictate to them, not let them dictate to you. Now, in offense, I'm not sure how anybody feels because of the injuries on the line and the change in offensive coordinator. And I do believe some of the wide receivers checked out early when was the coordinator Waldron, and like DJ, and they wasn't running routes. They was just like BSing out there. So they wasn't trying hard. So now I think they have a new sense of urgency, like, hey, I got to earn my money. I'm going to be here. Let's go out and put on the best performance we can, because we have to show that whoever the coach is going to be next year, that we're going to be a piece of the pie for winning. And that's how I look at it as far as the locker room goes with Flus. I don't think he's lost the whole locker room, but I think Hightower done lost some fanfare by not shoring up the deficiencies on special teams, because you can't get kicks blocked every week. And not also that, but the coach is not challenging to go for it or to get extra yards to make special teams' job easier. So it goes hand in hand.
So, two things. So my answer to all this is just simply that at this point, it's an individual situation. It's not an entire. You lost the whole locker room. You lost the. You have the whole locker room behind you. I think it's an individual situation. I think Kevin Byard is playing again with his own motivations. I think certain people are playing with their own motivations. Keenan Allen is playing for another couple of seasons of football and a new contract. Caleb Williams is playing to develop, right? Like there's certain people who are playing for certain reasons, and though they're showing up. Roma Dunze is playing because he's just a rookie, right? He needs to get his reps, to get his understanding, and build his repertoire. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. But for the most part, Last year, the reason he was retained was because he galvanized the team in a situation of loss. I'm not sure if that same tune sounds quite as sweet right now in a 5-game losing streak again, right? Like, does it
have to lose? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
They know they should have won all of these games. And when they came out flat, you could tell after they lost that Washington game when they came out flat, and then they played like dog crap when New England came to town. They should have beat the ever-living tar out of them. And they played like they was trying to get home to go watch another game or to go, get to the barbecue or something. Like they had to be there, but that wasn't their first priority in life, which it always should be as a football player. Like this is where you earn your money. This is how you live every day. And this is what's going to bring you an opportunity to take care of your kids, your family, and have a legacy. And I don't see that for every player all the time on this team like it used to be, because Crimson was right. In 2002, when they had trash, people didn't want to see the Bears because we played hard as hell on every down, regardless of how much we were losing by. We was in them games. We may have lost, but they fought hard as hell. And teams is like, damn, them dudes is playing hard every down. They not quitting. And this year is the first time I've seen it since he's been a coach where people have actually quit in games where they didn't try, other than the wide receiver we had to ship off to Miami who don't even play and went to Buffalo. Now he ain't even on the team.
Crimson scares me sometimes, man.
Let me say something too, man. And I think this gets, I'm in between the universe of podcaster and being a fan of the team and the universe that is a football player, which I'll be until I don't exist. I'll always be a football player at my heart. I always think that way because that's the way I was raised and brought up to be. I'll always be that at my heart. Even though I'm not actually physically out there playing, I'll always think and behave and know what a football player has on his mind and in his heart. And I'm telling you, whatever, all this conversation about this team is folded and this team ain't this, they ain't that, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But I know what football players think. Football players with pride. We got some prideful dudes in that fucking locker room. I'm telling you that right now. And I know that everybody can kind of smell blood in the water, and they feel like this is going to be a no-win situation for us. No, there's no victories here. Detroit Lions, they're the best team in football. That's what most people would say. What chance do we have, the lowly Chicago Bears, to beat Detroit? I'm telling you. And you can mark this down on your board. These are football players in that fucking locker room. I'm telling you, they are going to come with it. And I can tell you why. Because pride is a motherfucker. And don't nobody want to fucking be embarrassed. I'm just telling you that right now. That might sound like a small thing to you, but I'm telling you, these motherfuckers are gonna come out and play the Detroit Lions. I'm just telling you that right now because don't nobody want to fucking be embarrassed. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. I know what it feels like. They don't want to be embarrassed inside that locker room, and they're going to act like it come Sunday. I'm telling you, whatever you think in your mind is going to happen, either one of those universes could actually happen. But I'm going to lean towards, I feel like these dudes going to play with some pride and passion. Straight up.
Like I said, I believe so. I believe some people will, and I believe some people won't. I think it's going to be a fantastic football game. Barring Matt Eberflus, and there's one other portion of this that slightly worries me, and you touched on it a minute ago, FFG, and that's special teams. I don't know what's going on. You got 4 days, you know what I mean? It's a short turnaround here now. It's a short turnaround, but somebody please fix the kicking. Right? Somebody fix that over the course of the next week.
How do you go from all that I just said to somebody fix the kicking? I just want to know.
Because the kicking has basically lost us the last 3 weeks of football. Systematically. Special teams has it not?
Oh man,
They ain't lying, kids. I mean, I'm being honest, bro. That's the truth.
I'm just
We had
it's the other part of the game that nobody's talking about, right? Like if there's a path to winning this football game, it's shutting down the Detroit Lions run. We've already seen and established that this secondary can handle the passing attack of the Detroit Lions. I'm actually not worried about that. But out of nowhere comes this special team situation where Carlos Santos is like line driving kicks and they're getting blocked, and the one we nailed to put us into overtime was almost blocked. There was a hand very close to that kick, y'all. If you see the replay, that's the other thing that worries me. It's a thing that has to be talked about. We talked about it last week. Richard Hightower himself came out and talked about it last week and took all the onus, right? He took all the onus on the special team situation. And you know, the three of us had a discussion about it. It might have been, I think Triple R may have been involved. We had a discussion about it. In the end, they went back out there and got a kick blocked. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on, but somebody got to do it.
Braxton Jones on the all-22 was the leaky piece.
Okay.
Braxton Jones on the all-22 is the leaky piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that and say everybody else you can go do your all-22 homework. That was the reason why they moved Darnell Wright on that side. Now, if we watched the presser, I was glad to see that Courtney Cronin mentioned that, you know, the fact that he moved Darnell Wright over, you know, as an in-game adjustment, you know, over to that side. And Braxton Jones has been a weak link in the protections since he's been here. Darnell Wright's a hell of a not Darnell Wright, but Braxton Jones is a hell of a for his ability. I mean, he's gotten everything he could out of his personal physicality and ability. Everything that Braxton Jones can be, he has been for the Chicago Bears. I am never going to piss or shit on Braxton Jones because every ounce of what Braxton Jones is capable of, he has given it to this team. The bottom line truth, and it's hard to accept, is his best ain't good enough. And he's got a weakness, and that is a bull rush and somebody getting a jump on him and pushing him back because he doesn't have the bottom half to stop it.
So you want to move him to guard?
Braxton Jones is going to be a great swing tackle. He's got tackle ability. He can get you out of a game, but if you're depending on Braxton Jones for 4 quarters and you got a lot of pass protection called, you're going to be in trouble at some point because he can't hold up, especially against a bigger edge. He's going to get pushed around. That's just all it is to it. But I said that all off season. People cussed me out and got mad at me. No, man, okay. I said, when it comes down to it, we're going to be regretting that. And we're regretting it. Just saying.
So your solution, I'm just curious, is your solution to move Darnell permanently to the left side and actually draft one of these great right tackles and been coming out left and right and move him inside where you could take Tevin's job? Because he ain't been performing.
I thought that was the best thing to do in the offseason, to be honest with you. FFG was a move Braxton. How many times did I say that, kids? Move Darnell to the left side, and everybody's like, oh, no, don't mess with him. How many times did I say that?
A bunch of times, but I need to get back to the actual question at hand. Does that fix the kicking situation?
Putting Darnell on that side? No, all it does, unless you get a couple more guys, unless you get Bates healthy that can kind of, he's experienced that can hold up, then you can kind of maneuver guys. Now you can probably put Matt Pryor over there on the right side to cover up where Darnell was, and can probably put Bates there where Matt Pryor was, and then you got a sturdy situation.
So you're telling me it's fixed?
Nah, I'm telling you we don't have Ryan Bates.
I'm glad you actually backpedaled on that. I really wasn't expecting you to do so. I wasn't expecting you to backpedal. I'm glad that you did, because that's my worry, right? This is a short week situation. I don't know if they really have time to flip that stuff around and practice it and make sure it's surefire. I hope they do. I hope they can. And Richard Hightower, I think you're an awesome special teams coach, and I think you have. I think you've got head coach written all over you.
Just the personnel, man. You don't have the personnel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure what you can do to actually fix this in season. And that's why I really push the question on you. I don't know what he can do, but something needs to be done, or else it's going to continue to be a problem in this football game on Thursday.
Well, we definitely need a snapper. That's for sure. A big body. What Patrick Scales? Okay. What he did? No. Is Patrick Scales dead? Because he been on IR. He been off. No, you know what I'm saying?
I think he's in San Francisco. I think somebody signed him. I feel like it's San Francisco.
No, he was injured to start the season, and they had to sign two other dudes.
He ain't injured anymore.
So then why he ain't playing?
He's playing for somebody else.
No, we didn't cut him. We paid him for this season. We didn't cut him.
Who are we talking about?
I think we had to cut
Patrick Scales.
I think Patrick Scales got paid in the offseason.
Right, but I'm saying to play this year.
I don't know, man.
What his status is.
Here's a more interesting topic to talk about, and that's
he's still in IR. That's why he's still out.
Let's talk about the offense, Thomas Brown, and the use of let's see this week if they bring up a Tyler Scott. Let's see this week if they put him into the play call. Into the scheme. He hasn't done it all year. You got to wonder why. We talked about that quite a bit on the show, on different shows that we've done. And the reasons why are perplexing to me, other than I can imagine in practice that he's just not consistent. And for whatever reason, I think the coach is holding him back, the head coach. And he's got to make the decision at the end of the day, who makes the final 53. That lands on Flus's desk every week. And whether or not when you come out of the coaches meeting with all the coaches and they say, hey, man, I like the way Tyler's been looking this week. He dropped the pass over there on this route and da-da-da-da-da. But I like the way he looked. He's getting everything. He's running everything the right way. I think we can use him in the scheme this week. And I think he'll be a very good piece. And that still lands on Flus's desk, Kedz and FFG. When he makes the final decision and turns in the final 53, they have no say-so in that. They have no say-so in that. And so, you know what? If y'all got questions about why Tyler Scott hasn't been playing, don't blame the offensive coordinator. Don't blame nobody else. Ask the coach. One of these days, somebody needs to stand in front of that podium and ask him, what is the deal with Tyler Scott? Why is he not making the 53? And why is he not being folded into the scheme? It's the head coach. He's making the decision not to play Tyler Scott. So I'm anxious to see what we got. I like the draft pick when we got him. He does have some dropsies, but you got to play the kid in order for him to work that out of his system. You can't get better standing on the sidelines wondering if you was out there doing this play or that play. You got to fucking play. And eventually somebody has to make the decision and let him play. But it's the coach, Kedz.
I don't know what to say on this here. I don't know. Coach is definitely involved. I really don't know what to say on this one, right? Tyler Scott's position has been usurped. So I don't know who's really going to bat for Tyler Scott right now. Hopefully it's his play, right? Like hopefully it's his play that's showing everybody, yo, we need to get this guy on the field. I don't think that's happening in practice, and that's terrible because that means that he's unfortunately not going to get the development that he requires, and that this third-round pick may, again, go south. These are not things that I think Ryan Poles wants attached to his resume because it's starting to, I think Crimson is starting to. I think Crimson's out on Ryan Pulse. Like, I'll just put that out there. Crimson, holla at me, tell me if I'm wrong. But there's a lot of red in this ledger, right? There's a lot of red in the ledger, and I don't think you want to add Tyler Scott to that, along with Velus Jones, along with Dominique Robinson. There's a lot of draft question marks that should really just be draft development. That's all I got.
I really think it's utilization at this point. Right now, you got 6 wide receivers, and your kick returner has more receptions than a primary wide receiver. Your kick returner. So, are you telling me the guy that just got on the team plays better than dudes who played on the team, been in the scheme, because it hasn't really changed? And Colin Johnson on the active roster, you ain't seen him once. You ain't seen him go route. You ain't seen a jump ball. I mean, this is the scheme, and this is what Flus is having a problem with. And I think that's really where we have issues, that he needs to be more demonstrative and say, okay, look, you're right. We need to go in this direction. We need to put these people in the game. I can't just keep putting, because I was looking at the roster, and you keep putting dudes in the game or even have them in the roster that don't play. And as much as we banged up, especially on the offensive line, you got 2 guards, actually, or 3, right? Or 2 guards, right? 3 centers, 2 guards, right? But you got a gang of corners. Like, I ain't seen no boy play yet for the team. Amir Speed, I ain't seen him play yet. So you sign people, don't play. So what are you giving them money for? This is where I look at, if you're saying I'm fixing a hole or I'm shoring up a position, then why don't these players play? And why aren't you coming out with a full attack of stuff they haven't seen? That is my thing. If I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm like, look, this is what I'm calling. This is what I need to be successful. Here's how we going to bust their ass on Thursday or on Sunday or on Saturday or whatever goddamn day of the week it is we playing. I need these cats on the field so I can show and prove, and I can show them something they ain't never seen that's on tape. You know what I'm saying? That they haven't realized what we can do. And we could take points from a team. Simple as that. You activate players, you let them play, because you got to think about them kids over there foaming at the mouth trying to get in the game. That's why when you heard your boy talk about we're not being utilized, we're not being put in the right position, same thing on offense. Let the dogs loose. Run the yard. Go, bye. Get out the house. Eat all the rabbits you can. I don't give a damn. You come back and you bring me some dead carcasses. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see you hanging out on the couch, you know what I'm saying, wondering where the water bowl is and where my treat's coming from, and I'm just lamping somewhere, lazing around. Hell no. Get your ass out there and run. Go out there and do something. Be productive.
Let me throw 2 cents in. And you guys tell me whether or not you think I'm too far down the rabbit hole. I think Tyler Scott got drafted in like the 5th round or something like that.
4th round.
No.
4th round. Okay, 4th round pick. 4th round pick's a very, very valuable pick inside the building. Let's just say now.
Fastest cat on the team, not a Bayless.
Rock with me for a second now. Y'all rock with me for a second. Y'all tell me whether y'all think I'm off or I'm on to something. 4th round pick. They got names on the board of what to go get, right? And ultimately, it's always going to end up being the GM that makes the call, right? Let's just say there's a little difference in the room about who to go get. Maybe there's a defensive player on the board or something that Flus wanted and they didn't get. He decided to go with the receiver. And let's just say, since then, if you guys think that there ain't no bitterness or no kind of resentment based on how that draft plays out and the players that they draft, y'all got another thing coming. I got a few NFL homies that can attest to that. The fact of the matter is, they may have felt like, let's say, Flus, that we didn't need that player at that particular time, that we could have got a better player on the defense or something like that. He could be still holding a grudge for that and trying to make Poles look bad for drafting that pick.
Well, how many people mad at Torrey Taylor right now, that pick? Like,
that's true.
How many people was mad as hell?
You see where I'm going, though? You see
right,
where I'm going?
Okay, but now he on the team. Stop being a bitch. Excuse my language.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, stop getting in your feelings like that because you don't need to. Now they on the team, you got to utilize them. You can't hold grudges on something that didn't happen. Like, I should have dated this girl. I could be living in the lap of luxury because
power control.
She now president of a company. You know what I'm saying? You living in the past.
Power issues are real inside that building, and he could be trying to make Ryan Poles look bad for making that pick. Bottom line, and he's not giving him this guy a chance to make Ryan Poles right for making that pick.
But wait a minute.
Well, who's gonna be fired first? Look at that.
No. Just why are you playing a Tyler Scott over
who?
Right? Why are you playing him over Keenan Allen? How is that going to really happen?
So who's your fourth wide receiver, four wide receiver set, or five wide receiver set, or even
DeAndre?
I don't even think we've seen a 4 wide receiver set.
DeAndre Carter is going to get the nod because he's a better kick and punt returner, and I think that's at the end of the day, that's probably what's keeping Tyler Scott on the inactive list. The fact that Tyler Scott is better, DeAndre Carter is better at kick and punt returners. I think that's it.
And same token, that's why Colin Johnson is on the 53 as well. Colin Johnson is really playing special. So they have both of these guys who are contributing to specials, a guy who's not necessarily contributing to specials because DeAndre Carter is just simply better at it than he is. You also have a veteran 1,000-yard season-on-season wide receiver in front of you. That it's hard for Tyler to get upward motion here unless he's blowing it out in practice. If he's not blowing it out in practice, it's so ironic, man, because everybody was like Velus. And I believe it, right? I believe he shows it in practice, and that drives everybody to be like, Velus, right? Like it makes sense to me. Nobody's saying Tyler Scott. And I don't, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with the kid. I'm just saying I wish he had the cheerleading squad that Velus Jones had to get him the opportunity to develop. Right now, he's stuck as a healthy scratch. Sucks.
Well, kids, tell me this then. Travis Homer on the team. What does he do? Go out and block?
Travis Homer is a monster on special teams, dog.
Okay, but he plays 6 or 7 plays a game. So you telling me he deserved a spot on the 53-man roster every week because he make a tackle every week? He out there knocking the ball loose?
I'll tell you what he does, though. I'll tell you what he does. So on those DeAndre Swift runs, he's the guy returns. He's the guy right in front of DeAndre Swift, taking that first hit, that hit that's coming at at full speed. They
running 10 yards. It ain't no full speed no more. Come on.
Okay, then it's half speed, but it's still pretty fast. And that speed is the brunt of that is being eaten by Travis Homer every week. And every week I stop and I'm like, oh, who's number 20? Every week.
I see y'all. Wait a minute, y'all dudes been sitting here. Hold on, slow up. Y'all dudes been sitting here, yammering on about special teams. I'm making great ass points, and y'all pivot to special teams and kicks getting blocked and all that type of shit. Now, if kicks was being returned, and you got Tyler Scott out there instead of the running back number 20 that can make tackles and make stops, this is how this dude makes his money. That dude is valuable. That dude is valuable as shit on special teams. And I hear y'all. Y'all making good points, but I can tell you the difference in Tyler Scott on special teams and number 20. It's a big difference. It's a big difference, man.
Huge. I'm agreeing with you. It's huge.
I'm just
Just
saying,
saying, man.
he's going to return kicks. If this kid's going to return kicks, they have 2 kick returners, right? You don't got 1, you got 2. The way it's played now, you got 2. So why is he not the other kick returner? And now he gets to go out there and catch the ball and catch teams off balance with his speed to open up everything else on offense.
The first answer to that is because
Travis Homer don't ever do play on offense. This kid can play offense.
yeah,
Get him the ball in space.
It's about how you balance what you think is going to happen during the game. How often is that other wide receiver outside of DeAndre Carter getting called up to go out there on a 5 wide receiver set? Hardly ever. They're trying to keep a compact formation. They're never going out of more than 3. You might get a 4 wide formation.
No, they got tight ends in there instead. Like they just
right. So they're not using that many wide receivers as far as the game plan goes. So why in the fuck would you need Tyler Scott over DeAndre Carter? DeAndre Carter's a better receiver than Tyler Scott. The argument that I'm making is why isn't it right now? I'd say that Tyler Scott, if I were to watch them in practice, I would say that Tyler Scott can bring me more down the field in that situation than DeAndre Carter. The argument against myself, I would say that it goes against good reasoning to put him on the 53, and DeAndre Carter's better on special teams. Not based off that performance you just saw this week where he didn't get away from the Oski. The Oski is what you call when you need to get away from the ball, right?
Right. And he didn't run backwards. He was.
He should have been 7 to 10 yards away from that. That's what you taught. But you know what I mean? If there was ever a situation where they opened up the window for Tyler Scott to get a chance to make the 53, DeAndre Carter just opened up that window. Do I see why that he's not making the 53? Is there a guy in front of him better? I would say so, but Tyler Scott not being given the opportunity the entire year is inexcusable to me. There's something else going on. I think it's a little bit more nefarious than what we're willing to put our finger on right now. So you can't tell me all year that DeAndre Carter's been better than Tyler Scott in practice. And that's just bullshit. He's just not giving that kid a chance.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Hold on. Better at what?
Playing wide receiver in certain kinds of
cool.
routes and things.
If you're talking about specifically playing wide receiver, maybe hands are the issue between the two of them.
Let's pull up, Kedz, because look at what In the Graph just said. He says, and Tyler Scott ain't blocking a paper bag.
And Keith Scott ain't blocking a paper bag in special teams. You're damn straight.
That is actually obvious on the all 22 that he sucks at blocking.
He's not going to be doing that.
Small guy. He's small. That dude probably weigh 165 pounds with bricks in his pocket, soaking ass wet.
Yeah.
He's going to struggle in that. He's not strong.
So they're putting in tight ends, right? They're putting in a Travis Homer. They're putting in heavier, more big body guys to add that blocking capacity in specials and in regular offense, right? It's either Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett will get called before Tyler Scott because of his blocking capability, and that's really what it is.
Gerald Everett don't block. Come on, this is beyond.
No, I'm not sitting there saying Gerald Everett does block, but I am saying that Gerald Everett would provide a better block than Tyler Scott. You know what I'm saying? Like even in that scenario.
To defend Gerald Everett, he was getting it damn done this week on that all 22. I'm just gonna say.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying Tyler Scott's a pretty small guy, and that's really the difference in getting him on the field in those scenarios. They've kind of phased him out. I mean, I agree with where Nomad is, because basically he's just saying, like, work him in the offense, develop the guy, give him a shot. And I'm fully with you. I'm just painting out how buried he got, right? And it's a situation now whether Ryan wants to develop, wants to have this guy developed or not. And I'm not sure where we are with that.
Well, here's my thing. Then what is the guru dude that they hired in the offseason that trained DJ? They've been working with Keenan. What the hell are they doing to help this kid to be part of the offense? Because with the speed that he has, every team that we've played, there's been a nobody Smith catch the ball. one of the 5 or 6 wide receivers is on the roster. Like the dude Naylor last week was catching passes against us. What position he play other than 5th or 6th wide receiver on the Vikings? Do you see what I'm saying? But he contributed to the team to help them win. And that's all I'm saying. Why can't they find a way to incorporate the talent they have if
that's
you're going to have them on the roster?
FFG, let me help you out, because every time I see Xavier Worthy playing and them finding ways to fold that guy into the mix, I keep thinking Tyler Scott all the time. He's got very similar. I mean, body type, everything about him. I mean, he is everything. Tyler Scott is every bit of that. I think Xavier is a little bit more slippery than Tyler Scott and more of a tackle breaker than Tyler Scott. But other than that, he's got everything. They find a way to use that option that they have, that explosive piece that they have, and for this team not to find ways to get this guy in the fold. I'm looking at Xavier Worthy with his little light ass just getting it in, and I'm just like, that could be Tyler Scott. You put Tyler Scott on Kansas City, and you tell me right now to my face that they won't use Tyler Scott the same way they're using Xavier Worthy. I'm gonna slap you dead in your shit.
Or Clyde Edwards-Helaire or any of them dudes. I mean, come on. You got to think about it. They was trying to use Velus Jones in every way they could to see what he got, right? They're not giving this kid not one opportunity to do that.
And right
honest,
there,
everybody and their mama was like, Velus need to go. Get off the team. You stink. We don't want you. But they was giving him the ball in any kind of capacity, running ball, quick passes, just to show it off case his speed and ability to juke it, and boom. So I really don't see why you don't utilize all the pieces if you're going to keep him on the 53-man roster. It's very rare that you would see a team that's got a 53-man roster and 6 or 7 people don't play the whole season.
This is what I'm been saying. These are my questions. I don't understand the healthy scratch thing. Doesn't make any sense to me. Multiple healthy scratches?
They played it all.
Multiple healthy scratches.
What if Tyler was in Kansas City instead of Xavier Worthy, what would they be doing with him?
Look, you're right. They're the same style. They're the same style of wide receiver. The reason why I shake my head in that comparison is Xavier Worthy and Tank Dell are just so far to me much better than Tyler Scott has been. Let's also be frank about this. We ain't seen a whole hell of a lot of Tyler Scott lately, now have we? Right? So like that's the downside portion of this. You know who else is kind of like that? Sky Moore. Sky Moore and Tyler Scott are basically the same guy.
But they get to play. There's a difference. If you ain't
there's a difference.
Of course they're gonna look better.
Sky Moore don't look any better though.
That's like saying a dude with a job is more attractive to a woman than a dude who unemployed and ain't living in a cardboard box. Of course, you gonna. I
think they're both in the exact same position. I think they're in the same position. Sky Moore keeps dropping footballs. That's what happened to Sky Moore. He's a little slight guy, super fast. He's the reason why they drafted Xavier Worthy. That would be my Tyler Scott comparison. And in any event, they're very similar guys. I just think that Tyler Scott, just like the rest of you guys, I think Tyler Scott definitely deserves some sort of a shot. I think they should spend some time in developing the wide receiver now, because it's one of two things that's happening. Either we are
kids. How did he get in the doghouse, kids? How did he get in the doghouse? And it doesn't have to be a singular answer.
How?
Yeah, tell me how.
I don't think he's like here. Like, I don't think he's like in the doghouse. I think he like tripped and fell and got locked in there accidentally. That's probably the best way that I can put it, because because Keenan's here, and ain't no getting around a 1,300-yard wide receiver year on year. How is he getting around that? So there's that. The way to get around it is special teams. No. Blocking. No. You know what I'm saying? So that's how he got in the doghouse. If you're dropping a couple of balls here and there, that don't help either. But I don't really think I don't think he's really out there in practice at this point. I just don't. I don't think he's out there dropping footballs. I don't think that. But again, hey, so I've got a roster here. So I'm gonna start DJ Moore at wide receiver 1. I'm gonna start Rome Odunze at wide receiver 3, and I've got Keenan Allen and or Tyler Scott to choose to put in the slot. Who are you choosing?
How about this, kids and FFG? So far, since Flus has been here, one thing I think has been an epidemic, and I don't give a shit what coordinator's been here, what receiver coach, whatever. There's been misusage of the receiving corps. Could that be a
Well, Nomad? Okay, so we gotta look at this, and I'm just being honest because what Kedz just was alluding to. Keenan Allen was banged up for what, 4 games? You never heard Tyler Scott was still healthy scratch. So who else you put in wide receiver 3? DeAndre Carter. Who's wide receiver 4? Nobody. So you're not even giving this kid a chance to be wide receiver 4 and a healthy scratch. Do you see what I'm saying? Now that's deliberate. That ain't like, well, we can't use you. You know, you must be the worst practice player out there if that's the case. Or you done pissed somebody off. But
FFG, when's the last time you
well-bred kid?
FFG, when's the last time you seen DJ stretch the field?
What are they calling though? Because now they have to call shorter passes to get the ball at Caleb's hand quickly because they know the line ain't.
Yeah, I get it now, but what was Getzey's excuse? What Getzey got it right with him.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
What was
real
Waldron's excuse?
How many snaps?
Personnel. That's really what it was. Waldron didn't use his personnel, and the wide receiver coach, I'm pretty sure he's teaching all the right techniques because DJ and Keenan swear by him, and they 2 of the best wide receivers in football. So he can't be that bad. He can't be a terrible, and he put out a lot of cats at Maryland that people don't even talk about. So I can't see how he's the problem at wide receiver coach. So this is either the head coach with a grudge, like you said, Nomad, or they're just not wanting to give this kid a chance for whatever reason because he's made somebody mad at Hallis Hall where they're just like, you know what? Just sit and learn, sit and learn, sit and learn. And then when we have a major injury, you will probably get a chance.
I like I say, I think he accidentally fell and tripped into the doghouse. I'm gonna ask you guys, how many snaps do you think he's had this season?
You already said it. I think a couple.
He had 2 catches. I know that. The 1 game or whatever he was active, 2 games he was active, kind of like your boy Dominique Robinson, where he was active for 2 games, but just chilling on the roster, getting paid for no reason. So
would you believe
people were hurt? Why are you not utilizing the talent? Are you just saying they just good pieces to have for practice purposes? And they're not playing a game?
I think I might have an even better answer that y'all both can sink your teeth into. And I think any objective Bears fan that's been watching this stuff through these weeks can probably say this with some pretty solid confidence. Caleb is really good 0 to 20, 25 yards in. Really good, dialing it up. I mean, he will missile some balls in some holes and some open spots, and that's an upgrade to what we've been seeing with Justin. That was a very big upgrade. He will whistle into some NFL holes. You seen that on display a lot this week, man. This dude found holes and found receivers, and he whistled it into windows that shouldn't have. He probably shouldn't have. A lot of quarterbacks can't whistle it into. That's one. But here's the knock against Caleb so far, and when he gets to this point, I think he's really completed the process. He doesn't throw a good touch ball. And so what I mean by that is when it comes to the down the field stuff and stretching the field and really being dime ass perfect on these throws, which you got to be down the field. You got to put that ball in the bucket. He is really, really off. And so what is Tyler Scott good at? Really getting loose down the field and getting some open coverage. And Caleb is not really good at touch balls right now. his touch passes down the field are suspect. And it's not something that I know he can't overcome. I know he can overcome that. But right now, I think we can all say unanimously that it's not there now. So really, Tyler Scott's strength ain't a strength of the quarterback. So what's the point?
But he's also great in space. You don't have to pass to him for 50 yards. You get him for 6, 7, 8 yards and let his speed take over. Well, I think Tyreek Hill was the man because he wasn't a complete wide receiver when he came out. You got to think about it. He was in Kansas City for 2 or 3 years, but his speed made him dangerous. So they would get him the ball in space, and he would take off on folks. And that's what you could do with Tyler Scott. Same thing when they started with Worthy. He wasn't catching the bomb right away. He was getting quick, easy stuff just to have his hands on the ball to move. So it's all about what you call and how you call it and what you trust your quarterback to do. Now, I agree with you, Nomad. Caleb Williams down the field passes because he's not setting his feet in the pocket. And that's one thing I think that Jared Goff does have over him, that he can step back, see the field, and if you're open downfield, he can put it on you. Caleb is yet to realize if it's open, throw it on time right away. Don't wait. He's waiting for it to come open. Instead of because his anticipation was one of the major things they discussed about him being drafted. And so if that's the case, then why aren't you calling plays where he's being proactive and throwing the ball to the spot where they worked on in practice, based on the covers he sees, and the wide receiver knows exactly where to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I have an issue with about his downfield passing, because we've seen it even in preseason. He can chuck the ball. Adunze was a beneficiary of a bunch of times. He could put it on the money, but I think
you've nailed
wait so he can, trying to be fantastic instead of have it in the flow of the offense. And I think Thomas Brown will definitely help with that.
I think you've nailed something here, and the Scrolls is sort of going around it. I think the feet set thing might be the answer to that deep ball issue, right? Some of the sweeter deep balls we've seen from Caleb Williams so far was actually him, him doing that Michael Jordan, jump man. He's in the sky, no feet on the ground, off he goes. That's cool and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are you saying?
This.
Well, that's it, right? So I think I just think there should be maybe some more onus, some more focus on setting your feet and getting your feet set when you're passing. And I think that will help his deep ball as he moves forward. Can he do it without his feet being set? We've seen him do it a few times, yeah, but I don't think that is a winning formula. And maybe he needs to focus a little bit more on setting those feet, right? So that's my. I think that might be an important conversation to have by way of Caleb Williams as we continue forward. But like I said, I really like what I'm seeing from the kid. I think he's special. If we're still sort of in and around the Tyler Scott conversation, unfortunately, I see him in that dog.
Before you go there, Kedz, I think you was right on point, and I'm gonna go right back to you when I say this. Here's the thing: when because I've been in the offensive room and know how they devise a play scheme, and basically all you're doing is setting everything up. All the bells and whistles and runs and screen passes and, the 10, 15, 20 yards in throws, all of that is a setup. Every last bit of it. It's a setup for your deep plays. And when you get your deep plays and you get those opportunities, you got to dime those. And as of right now, and I pray that we get to Thursday's game against Detroit and he jumps this hurdle. Because I've seen him jump all the hurdles that I really needed him to jump. And it's only a couple of games since we had Thomas Brown. And I'm loving it, man. The rhythm, the timing, the timer that's going off in Caleb's head, it seems to be on point and in sync with what he's calling, what Thomas Brown is calling. But if he's got to be able to take advantage of some of these deep shots, he can't keep missing on those. And it's really about touch. It's not about feet. It's not about timing. It's really just about touch and knowing when to put some loft on the ball or to put a line on the ball and really throw it in between some defenders on a deep route. And that's the difference. I don't think he's found the medium between putting the loft on the ball. Sometimes it's too much air and guys can run up under it. Sometimes it's too much air and it's out of touch for the receivers. Finding a medium, finding a happy medium on the receivers that he has. It's not about so much him. It's about him learning the guys that he has. Like if he sees DJ break and get a push off on a route and he's got a step or two on a receiver going down the sidelines, but there's a guy sitting in coverage over the top, there's a window right there where he doesn't have to put a loft on this ball when he has to beeline this thing between the corner and the safety. That's what he hasn't figured out. That's what he hasn't figured out is when to throw a line drive shot or put some loft on the ball and let a guy run up under it. He hasn't figured that out yet, but that's not hard. That's not hard at all. It's just really being able to be a compliment to the guys that you have running the routes. And he's going to get there. He's going to get there. But when he does fix that Rubik's Cube, fucking look out. Because this guy's got everything else. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the conundrum. Getting over that hurdle right there. He's got to hit on the shots.
I don't think it's a conundrum, and that's why I'm really intrigued by his growth so far. And why I say I don't think it's a conundrum. I think it's the linchpin here is just, does he have the protection on his blind side that he really needs to process via this means, right? If he had 2 more seconds of faith, not even time, just all right. I believe
that line was really good this week, kids. That wasn't.
I'm not saying the line's bad, bro. I'm saying just faith, right? Like if he's back there and he's like, all right, I know Braxton's got me. I don't have to worry about it. I know he's got me. You know what I mean? As opposed to anything else. If he was really sure about that left side, I think we'd see a heck of a lot more accuracy with those deep shots. But is what it is right now. They'll figure that thing out in the you know what I mean, in the off season, and away we go. I think that's really all he needs. Just faith, right? I believe this guy's got my back, so I can sit in the pocket for for a second more, set my feet, nail that pass the way that I want to nail it. And he felt a little bit of it this week here. You're right. There's a little bit more cohesion on the line this week, even without a Ryan Bates, but a little bit of cohesion on the line. They played very good football this week.
They were extremely for the situation that they were given. That offensive line didn't get the credit this week and hasn't gotten the credit this week that it deserves. Mm-hmm. They protected this kid, man, and they gave him opportunities to make some of those shots that he whistled in there in those windows. They gave him the protection, and what you can really ask for an offensive line of this caliber. This is probably a C minus level offensive line altogether. I'm not talking about individual guys. I'm talking about them together as a unit. It's probably a C minus level offensive line. And what they were able to do, and you credit the offensive line coach this week. I just said that, and the offensive coordinator, making sure they had everything shored up. The play call design was right, and they gave this kid time to throw the ball. And, he hit on most of his throws. It was just the deep stuff he's got is, for whatever reason, it's off. And I think that's an issue with Caleb, just really not in-game understanding the leverage that his receivers are releasing on. I'm watching guys getting releases, and Caleb's kind of looking at it and wanting to throw that ball, but throwing it a little bit late and then throwing it a little bit too early. You know what I mean? It's just not there yet. But I know it's just really about some reps they're gonna get in practice and after practice. It's gonna get there, and when it pops off, you're gonna see it.
That's it. I'm waiting for it, and like I said, unfortunately, I don't see it happening until next season, just because I think they need to address that left side in some capacity. And even if that capacity is by elevating Karan because he stepped into the role or whatever it is, I think something has to be done. We need a little bit more surefire over there to really give him that faith he needs to be able to pull the trigger. So we'll see how he does, man. We'll see what they do. As for this team versus the Detroit Lions, brother, you know, I think it'll be one heck of a football game, one heck of a Thanksgiving. And if the Bears can stop that rush one more again, I think there's all sorts of ways we can win this football game.
Well, we got some shows to do. We got a show to do tomorrow. We got the in-game watch party we got to do tomorrow. Thursday, and post game and all that. And so we need to say this. Everybody, please do this. Hit the like button, right, kids? Hit that like button. Make sure something happened during this show that made you like what was said, whether it was me, Kedz, FFG, something one of us said was like, okay, I'm feeling that. Hit the like button for that reason, man. Don't be stingy. Just hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you do that, right? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, everybody, right? Because we need everybody's support, man. We're trying to grow the channel, and everything you do can help all that process, man. We appreciate you in advance. That's one thing. And you know what? I get a lot of conversation about this, kids. A lot of people always talking to me about, hey, Nomad, I want to come on and do a podcast. I heard y'all talking about this the other day, and I had so much to say about it. I just wanted to come on the show. Guess what? This is all they got to do, kids. Tell them the email address there.
That's nomadlivepod2023@gmail.com. By all means, hit us up. Let us know what you'd like to chop it up about. We'll do a little tête-à-tête, as they say en français, and we'll get you a little bit of time. We'd love to have you on. Should be fun. Same token, all you Super Nomaniacs, shout out to you guys out there in the chat. Mo Fugger, It's Crimson, you dig. Who else I saw out? Minister Charles Johnson and Marlon Johnson. Shout outs to both of you. Big shout outs to Daryl Gibson and BT9, my guy, Bear Truth. What's poppin', Bear Truth? Mad love to you guys out there. Oh, can't forget the scrolls. No love for Don Burr, but again, we are talking all about the Detroit Lions, so it was to be expected. Shout out to AC Adams. Shout out to me and the Superflex show. Awesome show today. You know what I mean? Nobody likes a broke MF, so hopefully we can figure out how to keep a little bit of fantasy football paper in our pockets as we move forward. So hang out with me every Tuesday, 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and let's do the darn thing. Let's talk some more football. Tomorrow we got ourselves some extra sauce. We'll keep it saucy with y'all, with me and my guy Triple R in the middle there, and the King of Pop, aka Nomad. We'll chop it up as per normal. We might have an FFG sighting tomorrow. I have a feeling we just might. And, it should be a pretty decent conversation. It always is. We just chop it up over there. Become a member, y'all. $4.99.
Amen.
Break the bank. Become a member. Join up. Be a Super Nomaniac. Follow us and enjoy the show. That's my station identifications for y'all. Super flex it up. Be super. Be a Super Nomaniac. Join the crew.
Be a Super Nomaniac, $4.99 a month. I got it down to as best I can get it, and $5 is all we ask for, and you'll be helping us. What does it do? Everybody wants to know what your money would do to why am I giving these dudes $5? Am I just helping these dudes fill up their pockets? No. It costs to do these shows, StreamYard, all the apps and technology you need to make thumbnails and videos and different stuff that goes on, man. It's a lot, and seems like more and more all the time that you need funds to be able to do it. Like, I got so much passion for what we do, is I've made it my lifestyle. And so I don't hide it from anybody. This is what I do. You know what I mean? You got to monetize your content and try to hope that you can keep the lights on and make sure that, the $4.99 a month goes to good use, man. And I don't mess around with it. I make sure that everything's taken care of. One day we like to make sure that, everything filters out to everybody that comes on the show, Kedz and FFG. We'd love to make sure that everybody else is compensated, but you can't give what you don't have, and what we don't have is a lot. And so what I ask is you guys, and anybody that can afford it, $4.99 a month, we would love your support and we'd be thankful for it. But we're going to get to where we're going. This is going to take a little time to get there. But I just thank you guys in advance. Everybody that's already a Super No Maniac, thank you guys so much. FFG, if you're there and you want to speak, let me know. But if you're not, I can still see his thing is on mute. So I will get ready to close this show and take.
Wait, before you do, I just want to say one thing. I want to say one thing before we finish it off here, real quick. Right. Okay. So Tyler Scott, 20 snaps on the season, 0 catches. Just want to say that. All right. That's an egregious misuse of the 53-man roster. That's crazy. 20 snaps, y'all. All right. Let's end the show.
That's kind of stats that make you think he pinched Virginia's ass or something.
You know what I mean? He definitely pissed in somebody's cornflakes at the breakfast.
Bad.
You know what I mean? Like something he did something to somebody wrong. He did some. It's wow. Keenan Allen. So I watched Keenan Allen on with Cap and with Cap and Big Dog on the Big Dog show earlier today. And Keenan Allen said, "Man, somebody did something wrong," and that was it. I think that somebody might have been Tyler Scott.
That's pretty bad, man. Good Lord.
Oh boy, poor guy. 20 snaps. That's crazy.
That
he
man,
doesn't.
That man
He's like the Homer Simpson meme. He's just sinking back into the into obscurity. Poor kid.
That man just shot the sheriff and the goddamn deputy.
Both of them.
Golly, man, that's bad. But hey, man, let me get ready to get out of here, man, because we do have some extra sauce to do. If you're not a member, man, please become a member, because I'm telling you, what we're doing on these shows is remarkable. We're having so much fun on these shows, and what I will offer you guys as people that are members, I know that I said that we were going to do it this week. It's very likely we might do it Saturday. We'll see. But hopefully we'll get this extra show out this week and give you guys that are members some extra content, man, because some extra sauce is great. But as much as we can add to the membership and give you guys extra content, we're going to do. But I got a very, very good concept that I believe the Super No Maniacs are going to really get into. So I advise you to get a membership if you have not. So with that being said, we do got to get out of here, man, because we do got life to deal with. Everybody does. But we will see you guys tomorrow on some extra sauce. And I will leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it, people, and you can see it, folks, there's absolutely no reason in the world why you can't manifest it. You might be a prisoner of your own mind and you don't even know it. But with that being said, we are